Hey YouTube, this is Evie here with Divine Readings with a Gypsy. I'm actually having fun edging my Tarot Vampires deck. It's one of my decks I'm going to have for my autumn equinox. Today is the day of September 22nd, the full moon. So I already put my altar pictures, which is right behind me, up on Instagram today, and to celebrate the spirit of the full moon. Yay. In light of the next week's fall equinox, I'm going to show you my fall decks that I'm going to be working with this fall. As you see on my table right now, I am lovely edging my Tarot Vampires. It's actually a good deck. I haven't had a chance to work with it very readily and just to work with it really hard. It's one of my favorite decks, believe it or not, and I just haven't worked with it. I just love looking at the image of it and just meditating with the images of this deck. But I am going to work with this deck, and that's what my goal is for this fall equinox. It's kind of a time of just working with the decks instead of just meditating and looking at the decks and admiring their artwork. Just actually using the decks for your specific spiritual studies. I have posted a picture on Instagram of my fall decks. However, I think that list is going to be subject to change depending on which energies tug and pull at me during the next few months of the autumn equinox, starting during the autumn. So my first deck that I have for autumn is Messenger's Oracle. It's such a beautiful deck. It's a little bit more Celtic, pagan, more than what I like practicing. I'm more of a Norse pagan, and this is more Celtic pagan, but I still love the energy all the same because I even like that one. That one's one of my favorites. I think Celtic paganism and Norse paganism, some of the artwork is similar, but not the same. It's really not the same. There's not too many Norse pagan decks out there that helps you celebrate what you believe. But I still love her art, and this deck is one of my favorite Oracle decks anyways, and it's very autumn to me. I don't know if it really is an autumn deck, but it's autumn to me. The next one I picked up this morning that I just felt hankering or calling to work with is actually the Fountain Tarot. It wanted to come out. I love this deck. I was feeling this energy more in the beginning of summer, but it's being called to be brought out again, playing with my stones, playing on my altar, and giving me some really good insights and readings. I love this deck. I love the feel of this deck, and the images of this deck really resonates with me in a very deep level, and I am so terror-struck in why I haven't bought this deck earlier. And my next deck is an oldie to me, but a goodie, is my Llewellyn's Tarot, and it's trimmed, but this is my go-to Rider-Waite deck, so to speak. Yet again, it's a little bit more Celtic, but I love the energy of this deck. This deck is one of my favorite kind of energy. Is one of my decks that I've learned on. It's one of my decks that I've just totally just resonates with me in a very deep level, more than just superficial level. And I think since this is kind of like a mini deck, it's a kind of a travel size deck. Now it's kind of travel size, which I could take anywhere if I wanted to. I'll put that there. And I think a lot of people are going to be working with this deck during the holiday season 2 is the Halloween Tarot. I just edged it in black last night. Oh man, it's so beautiful. I was not Hearth. Okay, I thought I said something else. I did not feel called to put this on my altar today. I have another deck on my altar if you are following me on Instagram. But I love the messages from this deck. Ooh. I can't wait to work with it. Such a good one to work with. Another one that I'm going to bring out for this autumn is the Tarot Noir. And it's a pip deck, but it's a Marseille pip deck. And I think it's very accurate. It's like it's kind of a Marseille deck. It's kind of is very traditional Marseille, even though it's not really the traditional colorings and stuff. It's very traditional looking pip deck. However, I'm already being called maybe not to work with the minors of this deck. I'm thinking I'm only wanting to work with the majors of this deck. So already I'm going to cut it out and put it down below. So I don't forget about it later, but I think I'm just going to work with the majors of this deck and just use the majors only because I wanted to practice on just using majors only anyways, and just the images, and this one's one of my favorites. So beautiful. I love this artwork. I love this deck, and it just really resonates with the autumn season. Next one on my list is the Fairy Oracle, or Fae Oracle by Brian Froud and Wendy Froud. I love this beautiful. I love the blues. I love the autumn feel of this deck. The Fae energy really reeks out in this deck when you really work with it harder than just sort of kind of work with it. You have to really meditate with this and you will feel the fairy energy around you. Such a wonderful deck to work with. It really opens the Fae world up. And my next one is a goodie, is my Bohemian Gothic. It is such a quirky deck, to be honest. It's I only have the mini. Oh, poop. I only have the mini Bohemian Gothic. Such a awesome deck by Baba Studios. I wanted the full-size version, but got the mini. I'm actually, in a way, glad I got the mini because I could use this as a travel deck as well. So beautiful. I love the moon in it. I love the Halloween energy in it. Kind of reminds me of the old 1970s, 1950s, 1960s horror movies. Love it. Love it, love it, love it. Such a beautiful deck. Edged it in black as well. I really like black edgings on my darker themed decks, or darker themed decks. My next one wanted to come out too, which is my Maddie L Tarot. I love this deck. This deck is wonderful. Edged in black. I want to trim at least this part one of these days. If I could do it sneakily behind my husband's back, because he does not want me to trim this deck whatsoever. I can't shuffle it. It's one of my favorite Emperor cards of all times because I'm an Aries, and most Emperor cards for Aries look like poop. I'm sorry. I feel bad for anybody who's, speaking of which, I feel sorry for anybody's card is Hierophant or Aries. It's mostly poop. But I love the Phoenix. Oh, such a beautiful deck. I am so glad this energy wanted to come out for this autumn. It's really an awesome deck. It's one of my go-to decks when it comes to my self-readings. And of course, the Deviant Moon. I love this deck when it comes to Halloween time. I think of that, what was that one movie, A Nightmare Before Christmas, when I pull out this deck. It's little town of Halloween, it's Halloween, everybody make a scene. Sorry. I really love this deck. I love the backs so much. I think my favorite part of this deck is the backs, just as much as the cards itself. I think I am also going to edge this one in black, but it's such a beautiful deck. I can't understand why anybody would not want to work with this deck. I love the quirkiness. I love the energy. Heck, he even used gravestones as some of these colorings in there and stuff. Okay. I think I already did that one, so I'm going to go with my next one. The next deck I'm going to pull out is another Oracle deck. I'm, like I was saying, I'm a little bit more Norse pagan, but I really been called to pull out my own Oracle, or Celtic Tree Oracle, and it has the Elm ruins on it. I'm not very good with the Ohms. I am pretty strictly Futhark, but I love this deck. It's so fall to me. Anything to do with trees and tree energy to me kind of reeks fall anyways. And this one reads pretty well for one card draws, I feel. Such an awesome deck. I am looking forward to actually working with it a little bit more this time around. And another one that I actually really am enjoying is the Halloween Tarot in a tin. This one makes me laugh in a good way. Oh my gosh. Sometimes when you're feeling down in the dumps, oh, not this one. Sometimes when you're feeling down in the dumps, you just need a good deck that makes you smile. It actually is very readable for Rider-Waite too. I love the Frankenstein for Emperor. Oh, such an awesome deck. A lot of people have complained that the tin, US Gaming System's tin tarot decks is a little flimsy. A little less thick and a little flimsy, but I actually don't have a problem with, I love this one. I'm gonna suck the blood and come into your room. It reminds me of Dracula Den and loving it. I love that card so much. I love the kitty cats. Oh yeah, the back of this card with the kitty cats and the spider. Oh my gosh. Chariot with the hearse. Oh. But yeah, this deck is very readable. It makes me smile. It's definitely Halloween. You can't deny it. I don't mind the cardstock on the tarot decks in the tin. It's actually a really fun deck. I think I'm gonna try to use it a lot more this Halloween season, and I've been having a lot of fun with this deck. It's just a really fun and happy energy deck, which I need in my life right now. Something light and uplifting is always good. And my next deck is something that is on my Ulster space right behind me. On one of my cards is my Fallen Angels Oracle. I also just edged it in black. I really love this deck. Oh my god, it's such a beautiful deck. So beautiful. Grimoire, love. This deck has a very accurate readings to the point where it's scary. It has really scary, accurate readings. It's such a beautiful deck. And it's so accurate. I think this is the backing. I don't know if I showed the backing yet. It's so accurate that it's ridiculous. Awesome, awesome, awesome deck. For my Lenormand deck for this month, if I were to pull a Lenormand deck, is my I call it my antique Lenormand. It's a really mini Lenormand. It's a mini Lenormand. Compared to a regular tarot size, it's a teeny tiny Lenormand. It's by Seven Stars, I think. It's such an antique feeling, a Lenormand deck. You can customize the backings, and she restored some of the original Lenormand stuff. And I love the size Lenormand just because Lenormand spreads are so huge. I have the gilded Lenormand in my bookshelf, and I love that deck so much, but it's kind of almost a regular size tarot card size that it takes up too much of the table. And this is a very quick, not too much of the table, kind of Lenormand size. I really love this deck. It was a little bit more pricier than I wanted to pay for a Lenormand deck, but it's worth every penny because I wanted something a little bit more antique feeling for my Lenormand. I don't have too many Lenormand decks, speaking of which, but that's my Lenormand. I have one deck that is missing from this collection, and I thought it was going to be coming in today, but apparently it's not coming in today. It's my Star Child Tarot, and of course I'm going to be working with it in this month or so, because I have a backstory with that deck, and I'm hoping that I'll do a review or reveal or an unboxing if I could be patient enough, which I don't think I will. I think I'm going to just tear into it. So I'm going to tell you that whenever I do get around doing that video for a review or reveal video for my Star Child Tarot, I will tell you about my backstory with that deck. That deck has a pretty big backstory about almost a crazy ass backstory that it's too good not to tell. And today, my coffee cup today is my little angry, little sneezy guy. He's so cute. He makes me smile. No coffee. I thought I had coffee. I have to pull out these because this is as much as what I'm working with this month, as much as my tarot cards, is my ruins. These are my witch's ruins. I've actually burnt these into chips that you could buy at Michael's. And to be straight up, I like my ruins to have a definite upside and a definite downside. So these chips from Michael's are totally perfect. These are not my original Witch's Runes designs. These are kind of, I took somebody's art for the Witch's Runes and kind of copied it. So I think I'm going to personalize a Witch's Rune set too eventually, and probably give it to somebody to sell on Etsy or something. I don't know. I don't think I need to sell these on Etsy because it's very easy to make. And I probably would paint a Witch's Rune set if I was to redo a Witch's Rune, I would probably paint it. And I just love the energy of the Witch's Rune. It's so beautiful. I haven't really got to work with the Witch's Runes, but I think this autumn month is a really good time to work with the Witch's Runes. So those are my Witch's Runes. And my next rune set that I love working with, I particularly am more fond, and these are my Futhark runes, by the way. I particularly like working with wood. Oops. I tend to like to work with wood when I talk about my runes or work with my runes, just because I find that stone energy sometimes is too intense when I'm in that meditative zone of working, when I'm working with runes. I get really intense when I work in runes, a little bit more intense than I work with tarot cards. I almost get into a certain, almost like a trance state when I work with runes, almost. And sometimes when I work in that energy, or just that channeling energy, when I work with runes, it's too intense for me to work with stone, because stone has a particular energy that is very specific to that stone. Like, for an example, the next rune set I have for this month is my citrine runes. If you're working with something that's stone energy, and you're in that zone, I find that stone energy is a little bit more strong than a wood energy. This is kind of like I think oak or something like that. Oak. Low Scarabeo runes. I think that's what I got here. So it's really, I find that wood energy is a lot more calmer, I guess, when I am in that zone of working with runes. And then my last rune set, I already told you, was going to be citrine. I think this is a low Scarabeo rune set that I paid too much for, but it was alright. This is worth every penny still. These are citrine runes. The only complaint I have about these runes is that they're completely round and they don't have a specific up and a specific down. And I actually have a complaint with that with my rose quartz runes as well. I love rose quartz runes, and the rose quartz runes that I have are really huge and they really fit in your hand well. And this really, actually this one fits in my hand better than the rose quartz runes. But I love citrine, because citrine is one of the Aries energies. But my only problem with this rune set is it doesn't have a specific up or a specific down. However, this rune set is very good when I'm having a card draw. Let me take this one for example. If I have a card draw, I lay a rune right on top of it, like so. And these ones are very good for that. And they're very good for altar space and altar space readings for that reason. And that's my citrine runes. The reason why I'm bringing out my runes is just because I work with them just as much as my tarot decks. And I want to get bone runes. I might just end up getting the antler, low Scarabeo antler runes, or something from Etsy that's a little bit more special, but I don't know yet. I have to wait till a budget opens up before I can purchase my runes, or bone runes. But as far as my August decks, and my, not really August decks, but my autumn decks, that's pretty much it. I will have to do a video before the winter and tell you what I really ended up working with versus what I think I'm going to end up working with, because sometimes that happens too. Like yesterday to today, the Fountain Tarot found its spot, and the Druidcraft Tarot found its spot back in the shelf again, and just things like that. That cards will interchange as the month and weeks go on, and certain decks will be called to be working with me this month, and I'll probably do a video on how my just a video on how the decks turn out. And what else I could say? That's my favorites video, or going to be my decks that I'm going to be working with this month. And like and subscribe. the usual, and follow me on Instagram, the usual. Okay. And you all have a blessed full moon, and also a good autumn equinox if I don't come make a video between now and then. And you all have a good one.